Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know who I am, I'm Two Spoons and I make vegan recipes worth sharing. Today I'm sharing a recipe that is near and dear to my heart. It is from my cookbook. It's for my faux gras on page 176. I really and truly love this faux gras because it tastes so much like a pâté. The base of it is actually white button mushrooms and lentils, and then we're loading in this umami flavor with things like miso and tamari and nutritional yeast. You're not gonna believe how much this tastes like a pâté. The recipe was inspired actually by my time in France. I feel like this is such a good recipe for like holiday entertaining, and in France, a lot of the time they'll bring Faux Gras. So when I was living there, I found a little store called Veggie Pate that sold this like little tin of faux gras, and I loved it so much, and I would always get it around Christmas time and bring it when we were like having gatherings. So when I came home, I was like, I have to recreate this tin of faux gras because it's so good. Love it because it's like obviously animal and cruelty free, and a lot of my meat eating friends love this recipe, so it's a really good one. I'm also serving it on a little bit of garlic bread, so I'll just quickly butter that, add a little bit of garlic, and then it's just a really good spread. But the recipe itself is gluten-free, so if you're gluten-free, you could use a gluten-free cracker and the whole recipe will be gluten-free for you. So let me show you how to make it. We're gonna start by chopping the mushroom and shallots. I'm gonna end up pureeing these later, but I want my shallots to kind of be finely chopped, and then my mushrooms can be roughly chopped. The smaller I chop them, the quicker it will cook. So I'm quickly just gonna peel this shallot, and we're just going to finely chop it. By now, I think you guys all know my onion cutting technique. It just makes it so nice and finely diced. No tears, because I only have one. I only have to do this one measly shallot. I have a recipe for a mushroom bourguignon that uses like 10 of these, and I spent like the whole time crying. Go check out the recipe, it's kind of hilarious. And now we are going to chop our onions. I'm using white button onions. You can also use white button onions. I'm using white button mushrooms. You can also use cremini. I honestly don't know why I picked these ones. I just did, and they work well, so I have no reasoning. This recipe uses 225 grams, which is like one of those like small boxes at the grocery store. When I first started blogging, I would just say like a punnet of something, and I just assumed people would know. I was like, oh, like a punnet of strawberries, a punnet of mushrooms, and then like people would message being like, what the heck? Like A, what is a punnet? And B, how much are you talking about? I was like, oh, I need to be more exact.
What's a punnet?
It just is like the little box that it sits in. It's called like a punnet. Sizing doesn't matter, but I like to kind of cut on the smaller side because then everything just cooks faster. That's kind of always my rule of thumb. I actually have a tip for how to clean my mushrooms. So I've got a quick YouTube short where you can go check it out. But basically what I'll do is I'll take like a kitchen towel or paper towel, and you just wipe off the dirt. You don't want to wash your mushrooms. That is a big mistake. They have a lot of water content in them already, but they also absorb a lot of water content. So we don't want to be adding any more water to these already like highly waterlogged mushrooms. So we can put these back in our bowl, and now we can head over to the stove to cook everything up. Typically, actually, we would start by cooking up our lentils. I have some French poi lentils here, but I already cook them. Basically, you're just gonna add them to a pot of boiling water and cook for 20 minutes until soft. If you can't find French lentils, then you can also use brown lentils. That would be my next best recommendation. I would avoid something like a red lentil because it's quite like soupy and wet and mushy, and we want something that holds its form better. So we're gonna start by adding the coconut oil to the skillet. Okay, let me just melt this. And we can add the onion and garlic. So I'm just mixing up this shallot and garlic until it's nicely fragrant, and then we can throw in our mushrooms. I'm really cluster these mushrooms, and we're gonna wait for that water content to release and get them browned. So now I'm gonna add my thyme and my chopped rosemary. And I like to do this now versus when I add it to my food processor so that I can just kind of cook the herbs a little bit. They're gonna become more fragrant and a little bit softer, which will be nice for eating. Okay, these are looking nicely cooked and brown, so we can get them off the heat. Now we're just adding everything to the food processor. So we're gonna start with our mushroom medley, then add our lentils and our walnuts. Okay, so now we'll add the nutritional yeast, some lemon juice. So I'm just using my fingers here to catch any little seeds that might come out. One last dish to do. We'll add the tamari and a little bit of maple syrup. I went for breakfast with my friends and dropped this on the table, and they were like, is this bourbon? It's like the biggest bottle of maple syrup you've ever seen. And I was pregnant. They were like, what is wrong with you? Why are you bringing bourbon to breakfast? Okay, we're also adding tomato paste. We've got our cilantro, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. There's lots of flavors happening here, as you can see. This is 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a pinch of pepper. Okay, now we can get this blended together. I'm just gonna stop and scrape down the sides and give it one last little pulse so everything is perfectly combined. Also, this smells amazing. There we go. Ooh. Can't get the top off. So excited for this. Well, I'm gonna transfer it to a jar, let it chill out. Most people have their pâté chilled. You can eat it at room temperature too. One of the nice things about chilling is it's gonna thicken it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna toast up my garlic bread. Let's cut this garlic just down the middle. And then I'm going to use the open cut side. This is the side that's like fragrant. And I'm just going to rub the bread with the garlic. And this is gonna give it that garlic taste. And then we'll slather with some butter. And like I said, if you're gluten-free, then you can skip this step and then you can serve the faux gras with gluten-free crackers.
From France?
Yes, like, oh my God, bread is probably the thing that I miss the most because it's just not the same. But like sometimes they just hand you the baguette and you just like, and you see people on bicycles with like little baguettes like tucked under their arm.
Classic.
Yeah, I'm like, it's so French. And there's literally like a bakery on every corner stop. Okay, so these are nicely slathered with butter and garlic. So let's put these in the oven on broil until they're nice and crispy. Time for the taste test. Oh my God. This tastes so much like pâté. I can't believe it's made with lentils, walnuts, and mushrooms. I'm getting that umami flavor from the mushrooms and the tamari. I'm getting the herbs. It's just so delicious and perfect on garlic bread. So there we have it, my recipe for faux gras. A perfect one for the holidays, a perfect one for entertaining. The recipe can be meal prep 5 days in advance and then just do the baguette when you're ready to serve. I really hope that you like this recipe, and if you do, make sure that you give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out some more of my vegan recipes on my channel. Bye!